Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of F Train Live. And in this episode, we will, just be talking about my life. We might dive into American history again. We'll kind of see how it goes. So, today has been another blessedly great day in my life. Um, I took my sister back to her um, college down south. So we drove down there, my mom, my sister, and I, and drove down there and just coming back now to my home in the north. And it's been a pretty good day so far, I would say. Worked out earlier too, so glad I got that in. Um, can bench press like 280 pounds now, so that's pretty cool. Um, I mean, been pretty happy with life and how life is going, and a lot more measured and content with kind of how I feel from moment to moment. Always kind of trying to check myself, like, okay, like, am I feeling upset right now for a valid reason? And it's usually the answer is no. So I can usually sort of bring myself back down to planet Earth pretty well at this point. Because I find that like when my emotions kind of run unchecked, that's when I kind of will get into some scarier places and some scarier thought patterns. Excuse me. So yeah, like I don't know. Life is I'm really blessed, and you'll hear me say that a lot. Like my life is great, but I'm not trying to brag. I want everyone's life to be great. I want your guys' lives to also be really great and full of purpose and meaning and um, not you. I don't want you guys to feel like ever discouraged or like you don't have a purpose in life because I know I've been there like and I've definitely felt like I have had no purpose, and now that I feel like I have a lot of purpose in life, it's a pretty nice feeling. Um, so it's I've realized it's also kind of difficult to talk about yourself, because you want to say certain, or at least me, like I want to say certain things, but a lot of times I won't know how to phrase it or how to put them, so I'm kind of sometimes left with like a big thought, this big kind of scary thought in my head, and kind of sometimes I'll lack the correct manner in which to portray it. So yeah, I feel like I'm working on that. I feel like it's getting better. Like I'm generally able to um, verbalize what I'm thinking a lot more clearly. Um, so that's good. And I feel like my brain is just working a lot better on a lot of fronts. Like before, like I was when I was in active addiction, like I was essentially just kind of living moment to moment till I could get drunk or high again. And now I'm not really living like that anymore. I'm living clean and sober, so that feels pretty good. Um, I'm really like just grateful for to my family and to everyone that I know and love for helping me kind of break out of that pattern of addiction. And now I'm in like a much better pattern, a much better headspace. Um, I meditated earlier today. First time in a while I had kind of meditated. I kind of fallen out of that practice a little bit, but um, yeah, I find that it really helps my just like um, mind work a lot better. Like after I meditate, I just notice a lot more clarity and a lot more like patience and a lot more um, contentment and just a lot of the good things you want. A lot of it, like I feel like smarter and more intelligent. So that's good. Um, yeah, so I've just been kind of trying to ride the happy wave of emotions and kind of keep that near the forefront of my mind instead of a lot of the anxious and kind of evil thoughts that kind of plagued me for a while. Kind of been kicking those to the curb more and more, so that's good. I'm really happy with a lot of the progress I've made. I still, if I could have if I could work on one thing, it'd be to eat better because sometimes like I can like not I won't eat for a while, but then like I'll just start eating a lot at one time, and obviously that's not a healthy way to go about it. So if I if if, if I could, I would definitely work on my eating behavior. Could be a lot better. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that's getting a little bit better too, to be honest. And they say that like when you exercise, like exercising kind of makes you want to eat less. Like it kind of shrinks your stomach over time because like you're losing weight, obviously. So then um, when you're losing weight, you're smaller, and then you'll want to eat less, and you get even smaller, and want to eat even less. So yeah, like it's like exercise controls like the cravings and the urges to eat pretty well. Um, I've found. So yeah, I'm gonna keep on that path. I think that's pretty good general area for me to um, pursue. Um, but yeah, you guys are I really appreciate you guys keeping watching, um, keeping keeping the views up, keeping the likes up, keeping the subscribers up. I really appreciate it. It feels really cool to know that I'm reaching an audience of people. I'm not just speaking on my voice isn't just hitting deaf ears or however that phrase goes. Um, it's actually there's actually some people who are out there who want to listen to what old Matty Westside has to say, old Freight Train has to say. So yeah, that's great. Um, feels good, I feel a lot better. I feel a lot more clear-headed and a lot less urge and craving to use abuse drugs. And now I'm like, okay, I don't really need drugs at all, and it feels pretty good. It feels a lot healthier than where I was at, and I'm just totally committed to staying sober now. And um, that's definitely a commitment I know I can keep, and I know I will keep, and it feels pretty good to know that. Because life is really all about like keeping those doing goals, like making a goal and then sticking to it. I think is really the most important part of life. Um, so yeah, still working on the job search. Got like maybe this EO or maybe this fitness desk thing in the works, or and maybe the library thing. We'll see. Um, one of those things. Hopefully, we'll um, be able to pursue. Um, so yeah, waiting on that. Um, should definitely hit a meeting sometime in the near future, and uh, should definitely apply to other places too. Um, if the other places I've applied to already don't work out, then be good to have something else to fall back on. Um, but yeah, I mean, other than those kind of things, doing pretty good. Feeling pretty happy with how life is going, and I don't know. I feel like I'm able to like describe things a lot better and speak about things a lot easier without like worrying all the time. Like, oh, somebody's gonna think this if I say that, or somebody's gonna think that if I say this. Like those kind of thoughts like don't want, no longer really plague my mind so much. That's great. Like, because before, like a lot of times, like I was just over analyzing every single thing somebody would say, and like it just get pretty old and irritating pretty fast. So now I like am proud to say like I can like actually let things go and not really worry so much about like, okay, this person's saying something, um, I need to feel this way. I'm more just like, okay, they're saying something. I don't need to feel a certain way about it. Like it is what it is, kind of thing. Um, so yeah, that's good. Um, yeah, like just like that generally, that like, oh man feeling like that I've done something really wrong and I've really messed up has very much so dissipated. So that's pretty special, and I'm pretty happy about that. And um, just a lot less anxious and worried about what other people think about me. And uh, still there a little bit. I still worry about that a little bit, but just a lot more like zen and kind of just focused. Still writing my book, so that's pretty cool. I love writing my book. It really just helps me realize like it helps me feel like get that sense of accomplishment that I really want. Is like because like when I'm writing it, I'm like, okay, like this is gonna happen now, or that's gonna happen then, like this is gonna happen soon, like and like then when you get to it, you start describing it, and it's just really cool and really fun sort of process to get into. Um, but yeah, uh, life is good. Life has been doing pretty well. Guess we could kind of dive into some history for the second half of this video. Um, mm, yeah, so like um, back in the day, when we were kind of expanding, there was this really big push to expand west. It was called it was kind of like it was like Manifest Destiny is what I think that the name of it was, and it was just like this idea um, kind of that we have the right kind of this idea that we have the right to expand westward, and we have the right to like God Himself has come down and maybe not come down, but God Himself has proclaimed that USA, you have the right to this land from East Coast to West Coast, and so that's kind of what we did. We um, hopped in wagons and hopped in horse-drawn carriages and just kind of set out pushing west. And Illinois, where I'm currently living, is one of those states that was created as a result of this westward expansion. Um, and yeah, so like we just kept pushing all the way west until we got to California, or it wasn't called California then, but um, the state soon to be California um, was settled by settlers. And yeah, like there was a lot of immigrants that would work on like the railroads, and they built railroads all across the continental, like all across the West. I want to say they built um, they built railroads, and it was primarily Irish and Chinese immigrants. Those sort of groups of people. We were the builders of the railroads, and we kind of just hung out and built railroads for a living. Um, that was cool, and that's cool. I wasn't there, but yeah. So we got the westward expansion. Um, got yeah, the Civil War happens, which is really, really, really terrible thing that happened in our history. Um, Essentially, just brother fighting brother, uncle fighting nephew. It was just a cousin fighting cousin. Like it was just a really, really awful event. Hopefully, we never get to that again because it was just the worst thing ever. And it was the most violent war, actually, statistically speaking, most violent war in the history of the USA. Excuse me. So yeah, that kind of that was a bit of a damper on U.S. history for sure. Um, Definitely like a lot of good things have happened in the USA and a lot of bad things have happened in the USA too. Definitely a bit of a mixed bag at times. Um, but yeah, I mean, I love the USA personally. I love living here. I think in my opinion, we're the best country in the world. Um, so yeah, um, but yeah, so like the Civil War happens. African Americans are freed from, um, well, you know, when I say freed, there was still a lot of um, prejudice against those people. Um, However, they say like the old adage is that Abe freed the slaves kind of thing. So thankfully, we got those people freed, and so yeah, then they headed north, moved into cities, um, and yeah, just generally tried to make a life for themselves, even though it was still very hard, and there was still a lot of prejudice against them involving like housing and um, employment, and it's a lot harder for them to get a job, a lot harder for them to get a house. Um, all those things that we take for granted is a lot harder for African Americans. So, um, yeah, that's certainly not good. But yeah, I mean, like we were kind of touching in the last episode, it's a work in progress kind of thing, and hopefully we can. There's no erasing in the history, but you can hopefully build a better future for everyone. Hopefully we can live in a future of America that is for everyone and believes in everyone and wants everyone to do their best and doesn't put anyone down or make fun of them or what have you. So um, yeah, that's pretty cool. That's not cool, but it's a part of history that it's kind of you shouldn't ignore. You should learn from it and move forward with that knowledge in mind. Uh, but yeah, so we have African Americans moving to the cities um, after the Civil War, and a lot happened in the Civil War. Obviously, Lincoln gave the Gettysburg Address, where he kind of just talked about like how terrible the Civil War was, and I'm not totally. I kind of am lacking in the knowledge of that specific Gettysburg Address, so I'll just kind of skip past that. But yeah, Abe gave the Gettysburg Address, so that was cool. And yeah, so we have a whole lot of different things happening now. Um, what was after? What's after? Yeah, so that is when kind of the westward expansion would kind of happen and swing more was is after the Civil War. Um, I want to say I think that's correct. I'd have to go back and look, but so um, after the Civil War, like we start moving west and settling territories in the western United States. Um, the Louisiana Purchase, that was the name of the large western side of the USA, um, and Thomas Jefferson, I believe, was the one who purchased the Louisiana Purchase from the French. It's because so they had owned it for a while, and then Thomas Jefferson came along and and scooped up the rights to the Louisiana Purchase. And so then we started later on in history. We start settling those areas, and yeah, uh, you know, a lot of history is filled with a lot of struggle. I would say, like, it's really hard for African Americans, like, to escape slavery and to um, build better lives for themselves, even though like everything was stacked against them. Um, so that was really hard for them, and for as a country, it was just hard, not just for them. It was as a country, but you know what I'm saying. Like, it was just hard in general. Like, it's just tough times, but definitely especially hard for them. But yeah. So anyway, moving on. Um, and the settlers of the West also had it was difficult moving west, and like that's the great thing about America. Like, our history is not just one people; it's this amazing combination of and collaboration of all these different people and places and things. It's there's really no other place like it in the world, because we have just you know incredible infrastructure and incredible commerce, incredible business, um, pretty good transportation. It's pretty good like really good education. Like, we have everything in America, and it's just really incredible to um, see that. Uh, and it's a result of all these different perspectives and different people and different races and religions, like, coming together and forming this, like, they call it a melting pot, um, forming a melting pot of just like good ideas and good vibes. That's America. America is a melting pot of good vibes. Matthew Canty. But yeah, it's pretty interesting, U.S. history and where we came from and all that. But I'll give that a rest for now. Won't go and won't poke that bear anymore. But yeah, I mean, thank you guys so much for hearing my perspectives on those things. I like sharing it. I know sometimes it seems like I get a little nervous when I'm sharing them, but I definitely I like to be careful. Like, I don't want to say something that's factually incorrect or offensive or anything. I just want us all to, have fun and just learn from each other, and yeah. So yeah, I mean, history is a really fascinating subject, that's for sure. Um, and I know about other subjects too, obviously, but I guess it just really always gravitated towards history, uh, just because it just always kind of I felt like it pertained to me, it pertained to my life, it felt relevant. Um, Not that the other subjects aren't relevant either; they definitely are. But yeah, I just always gravitate to history, and that's the interesting thing about the universe. I feel like every subject can, like, relate to every other subject. Like, it's just so mind blowing and amazing that, like, we live in this universe that, like, everything pertains to everything, and I think that's what can be dangerous about it too. It's like when man discovered fire kind of thing. Like, yeah, like he can cook his meat now and get a lot more nutrients from his meat, but he can also burn down his cave or whatever and lose his cave. So it's like, with great power comes great responsibility, and we talked about that in some of the other episodes. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Um, Pretty interesting stuff, And I was just like sitting down and talking. It's like with you guys, because when I sit down and talk with you guys and kind of just hash out the thoughts in my head, like, everything just feels a lot better, like, literally and, like, metaphysically. Like, I'm like, physically my body feels better, and then also in my mind, like I'll feel better about things. Um, so yeah, just kind of winding down now, I guess. Getting ready for another day in the life of Matty West Side Freight Train, KMD. Um, but yeah, thank you guys so much for watching as always. Um, feel free to hit that subscribe, like button, comment. Um, yeah, thanks for listening. It's really, I love talking about history with you guys. Like I said, I love talking about my life, what I did today, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next episode. This is F Train Live signing off. Bye.